The night is almost gone, and the day is near. Therefore, let us lay aside the deeds of darkness and put on the armor of light. All right, welcome into episode 10. I think we made it to double digits.
Are we really on 10 already?
It's 9 or 10. Yeah. We're your hosts, Hayden, Nathan, as always. Hopefully we'll get some guests in here. So I guess we'll say this before.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, we'll say this before we forget to. You have a trip planned. I have a trip planned at the same time, so we're going to miss a podcast episode.
Well, I will be here. That's what we talked about.
We'll still miss one.
We will?
I believe so.
Well, 2 weeks from today, or from... Oh, I will miss it by 3 days. You're right.
So we'll miss one. But good news is it was planned this time. So.
Yeah, it'll only be a week late if I do one with someone else.
Yeah. I want to get one going when I get back to maybe start getting some guests on, maybe every other podcast or however many guests we can find that are willing. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people don't understand, Alaska, you got to travel to get anywhere from anywhere. So we'll see how many guests, realistically, we can make happen. But there's
maybe some reoccurring
really
guests. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'll be on the horizon. I know I can get a couple people on here. I don't know how consistent it'll be, but pull up a third chair.
Do we have a whole other thing and everything?
We do.
Oh, yeah, we did for Matthew. Yeah, that's right.
Yep. Yeah, we got a whole setup. We just got to plug it in.
And I just thought we could do one when the Tennessee Grip's here again. We could do it with Austin. I bet he'd want to do one.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be epic.
Yeah. So we got some cool things coming up. It's finally going to be summertime eventually, maybe.
Dude, today about felt like a tornado. The whole state of Alaska was a tornado today.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah, it's not fun. I'm ready. Thursday is our last below zero day.
For real?
Until it changes. But
dude, I had this funny thought today that this was when I leave Alaska will be my first time seeing grass in 4 months. That's the longest I've ever gone without seeing grass.
It's been rough. It should be in the 40s by now.
Yeah, that's what I keep getting told is that it should be warmer by now.
Yeah. I was talking to, I guess first, prayers for this guy I met the other day. He's a super cool dude. He used to be one of the tower controller guys for the airport.
Oh, cool.
But he's medically disabled now and might get to medically retire. But he got in a nasty car accident. And the engine came through his cab and into his lap. So
the engine?
Yeah. Head-on collision, guy running from the cops with his lights off, going 100 miles an hour, drunk driver, head on him in a corner. But he's doing pretty good, but it crushed his legs.
He's alive?
Yeah. Yeah, he's doing pretty good, but it's it destroyed his legs. They got him all put back together. He's
Lego.
Dude's got scars galore. He was showing us his legs and stuff, dude. And all this place's bone came out of his legs.
How long ago was this?
I think it was last winter. So
did he just get to the place where he can wheelchair around?
He's just now got out of the wheelchair. He's walking around.
He's walking?
Yeah.
That's a miracle.
Thankfully, he weighs like what I weigh. He's around 150, 160 pounds.
I would have thought that'd be more problematic.
Yeah, well, it's good because he's not having to relearn how to carry his weight.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
It's not taking as much strength in his legs to carry him around. But but he's got some brain issues. He's got some minor brain bleeds, and it's affecting his memory.
Oh no!
And I guess he was in a super long coma, all this, and so now he's finally getting back to normal life. But he has to put everything in his notes because he can't remember the day before. As soon as he goes to sleep, it's over. Whatever happened is gone. So they're trying to get all that figured out, but it's just miniature brain bleeds. So he said it's nothing super severe. They can get it all taken care of. It just takes time, right? But he was joking about.
Is that going to get worse?
It sounds like it's going to get better.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. But I don't know how all that really works. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he was joking about the weather and how long this winter's been. He's like, the only reason I'm going to know I'm not actually dead and just stuck in this parallel universe is if I ever see grass again. When I see grass, I'll just realize I'm not dead. If it stays winter in July, I must be dead. It's oh man, that's rough. But
that's really funny, actually. But you made a comment right before we started, and you said I would be a what?
I can't exactly remember how I worded it, but A suicide promoter?
Yeah, like that would be my job. Would be suicide promotion. Okay, but that actually leads me.
There's a backstory to this because every time I edit these videos, we have the beginning.
I guess you just have to put it in there.
And everybody else is going to throw themselves off a cliff.
What?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're a suicide promoter because every time I edit these videos, I have to re-listen for where we started the podcast. So I'm sitting here listening to you make all these awful sounds into the mic. And I want to kill myself every time.
Okay.
Every time.
It's not okay. You laugh.
Every time.
You laugh. Okay. I understand.
I'm going to make you edit the first 5
Let
minutes.
me edit them.
And then pass it off to me.
I would sit there laughing because I think I'm hilarious. But that leads me into my question. This one's not as fun, I guess. But if you had another profession other than what you already have, and it can't be like baseball because you already said you don't want that, what would it be? If you do anything in the world, good pay, like everything's fine. Like you have all the things you need, even if it's like janitor, you know?
Dream job?
Yeah.
Nat Geo photographer.
Okay.
Like that is what I've wanted to do since I was a kid, man. But yeah. Well, cool thing is I've got them to start like liking my Instagram posts and stuff. So like I'm on their radar, but how many other thousands of photographers are on their radar? So like it's probably never gonna happen, but it's still like,
hey, you never know. You're so young,
dude. If they featured one of my photos, I would quit my job and do it full time. I'd be like, it's happening.
For real, bro?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
It would light the fire so hard, I'd be on it.
I'm gonna make it fake as you. Okay, now follow-up question. If you had to pick my job, what would it be? Now, you can't say suicide promoter. Like that's not okay.
I can't even say like a dog trainer because your dog's
I would not want
unruly.
to train dogs.
Full-time job for you.
That's a good crack.
I don't
Literally,
know. I feel like you'd be like a TikToker full-time. Like
you do think I'm entertaining.
It's the wrong kind of entertaining.
What? What do you mean? A full-time TikToker's gotta be entertaining.
Yeah, I'm just not of that breed. I don't know.
Okay.
Like obviously it's entertaining to some people because people are making millions off of it. But
yeah, be a full-time
I could see
streamer.
you being some kind of like vlogger or something like that.
I would probably not ever do that, but I think if I had to, I think I could do pretty decent at it. I just don't think I'd do enough fun stuff, you know?
Just
Vlog my insurance day.
get ready with me. It's the same every day.
I literally eat the same thing every day.
Watch me meal prep my chicken for the 15th time. Yeah,
Exactly,
I can see that.
Exactly. So now I have to answer it for myself and for you. I think if I could do any job in the world, I would. I see. This is why the questions are good because I don't even think about my answer until right now. So I have no idea what I'd want to do. I know whatever I would do, it would be involve talking because I like to talk.
Preferably talking to yourself.
Honestly though, like I love the podcast. Like I think some kind of biblical talking to others while also like making relationships. Like honestly, like it sounds like being an evangelist would be something I'd love to do. But I also love teaching the kids. So I also, as long as yapping is in the job description, I think that's my profession.
Yeah, I could see that.
I am enjoying sales though. I don't know how I'm gonna like it when it gets into like you need to hit these sales numbers because then like people get a little scummy, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping I don't go to that realm, but we'll see. If I had to pick your job, I think you'd make a great rec ball league umpire.
Oh, heck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. No, that's one thing I'm super excited for when Oakland's a little older and starts playing baseball, dude. I'm going to be coaching for sure.
Yeah, and then all the parents like yelling at you. And
I'm be yelling back.
You're like holding back your tongue as soon as you go. Freaking Kathy over there, with her stupid son. She can't even throw the ball.
Oh yeah, I'd be yelling back.
You start teeing parents up and get them out.
Oh yeah, I'd be putting these baseball moms in check, bro. Get back in your minivan. Shut up.
That was a lot better of a segment than I thought it would be.
Glad I could.
I'm glad that went better than I thought. I was worried that you were gonna give boring answers.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'd be a baseball player. I was like, all right, bro.
I'm entertaining somewhere deep down.
I would think we're both entertaining. At least Nona thinks so.
Yeah.
I think she thinks you're more entertaining than I am, though, to be honest.
She did grow up around me, though.
Yeah. I'm just not. It's fine. One day I'll get my funny bone.
Drop it in the comments. What would you be if you could be anything in the world?
If you could be any job in the world. Honestly, though, with the way that this is going, I could do podcasts forever, but probably won't. I would like to, but I probably won't. Because it's hard to do by yourself. Like, would I do a podcast by myself? Probably not.
Yeah. There's a couple guys that do awesome Bible podcasts that are solo deals, but
yeah. But those people are like, aren't they hired by a company or like by a program that does like some kind of main thing?
not necessarily. One that I listen to a lot, and for the men listening, Authentically Adam. He's with, he's under, dang it, I can't remember the name of, I think it's called Lighthouse.
Lightpost?
No, I think this is called Lighthouse, but Authentically Adam on Spotify, and I think it's on YouTube. But he's just a preacher, an elder that really enjoys spreading the gospel. But his whole thing is like explaining how men are to be, like
Yeah.
And his whole thing's from Adam, how Adam was designed to be. It's how we're supposed to be today, and he brings up some really good things. But there's some really cool guys that are doing it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they don't have that big umbrella like you're talking about, pushing them out to everybody to make it big, you know?
It feels like within biblical podcast world, you're either like bringing in some kind of information that no one's heard before, and that's why you're popular, or like you're just a pretty well-known name. Like a lot of the podcasts that we know, like the Bryce Crawford one, like he's got some decent stuff on it, don't get me wrong, but he's also a really big name because of the work he's done on campuses and with others and homeless people and all those kind of things.
Right.
You know, so it's like there's a lot more to it than just the podcast. But then the people who are only doing the podcast, they have some kind of ministry with it that's impacting others, but not on camera.
Man, I'm trying to find this website because there's a lot of good podcasts on here, a lot of good resources for people to check out. His name is Wayne Jones, Authentically Adam. I listen to it. The intro says the website name every time, and I know it's in there, but see if it's in his bio, but it won't load.
Hey, no pop up a graphic on the screen here for you guys.
Yeah.
And we're back.
Are we ready to jump into Hebrews then?
I think we're ready. I think we've got all my little chatterboxes out.
Sweet.
We're ready.
So chapter 1, we dove into some pretty cool stuff. The main theme being proving Jesus' superiority over the angels and really over everything. That's first thing we're going to walk through with the first couple chapters of Hebrews is that Jesus is superior over everything. I don't know how much of a recap we want to do here.
I think that's enough, honestly. I mean, that's the second half of it is really just a psalm, right?
The second half of it, yeah, there's a psalm involved, and then it's a lot of
the idea of Christ being above.
It's a lot of repeating the same ideas, but this time it's going to show the superiority over man.
Right,
is kind of the main objective of chapter 2.
Yeah, we're shifting here to Christ is above man, but also man's role in the system. You know, we talked about Christ being above the angels in the other context, but now we're going to see him being below them.
Yeah, as a man instead of as a deity. Chapter 1 really lays into like the deity side of Jesus. This is going to lay into the man side.
True.
You want to read through verse 4?
Yeah.
Kick us off.
For this reason, we must pay much closer attention to what we have heard, so that we do not drift away from it. For it is the word spoken through angels proved unalterable, and every transgression and disobedience received a just penalty. How will we escape if we neglect so great a salvation? After it was the first spoken through the Lord, and it was confirmed to us by those who heard, God also testifying with them, both by signs and wonders, and by various miracles, and by gifts of the Holy Spirit according to his own will.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's just me, but Hebrews, like, if you're just reading it, like if you just pick it up and read it, it seems really confusing to me.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I think if you start here,
what is it talking about? What is it talking about? Well, and it's chapter 1 and 2. Like, where else are you going to start? You know?
Right.
But what is it talking about? This law from the angels, this law that was spoken through the angels.
A lot of this is Jewish understanding, backed behind these words.
Right. And so this law, it's talking about the old law. A lot of God's message was delivered through angels, through prophets. He's kind of pointing out this new law that we see Jesus' superiority, so we need to pay attention to this law that's being, or to this message that's being spoken. And this message is the gospel. And he's pointing out, like, how much more serious is this law given by God's Son? If the law given by the angels was important, how much more important is this law that was given by his Son? And a couple key words I wanted to point out is proved steadfast, is unalterable, and couldn't be broken or destroyed, is what that means. Transgression, we'll see this quite a bit as breaking a command or law. I think we kind of get the idea of a transgression, be a sin. Like in today's society, if you get caught speeding, that's a transgression against the law. Disobedience is another word that's reoccurring, disregarding and neglecting to obey. I don't know. Did you have anything for 1 and 2? And I got some stuff for.
Oh yeah.
All right.
I got some stuff for 1 and 2. At first glance, at least for me, when I was reading this, it almost sounded like it was for a Gentile because of the way that it's saying, like, remember what Christ has said. Like, we can't forget this now that he's gone. These are important. But the truth of the matter is as we'll see later on, like we were talking about just before this, that this message is actually for the Jews. It's like, don't forget what Jesus is teaching you. I know you've grown up and you've resorted your whole life and dedication to this way of thinking. And Jesus was here for only a short period of time, at least the period of time that you experienced him here. So we can't forget those words. Especially with the Gnosticism that came from 1 John, and just this time period, like 70 to 90 AD, was packed full of false teaching and people manipulating doctrine. And so this was a good reminder for the Jews.
Yeah, a huge part of this letter is to prove to the Jews that Jesus was your Messiah. Jesus is God. The author's trying to prove to them that you need to follow this Jesus guy.
And just that solely. Later in Acts, it says, Paul refers to this as well, when Galatians are having these problems about circumcision and Jesus. Like, some people are like, okay, well, if these new teachings are not the way of Jesus, then we should just kind of add them both. But this is directly against it. He's like, no, we need to let that law be fulfilled and move to Jesus. It's like, this is the trans. I think I have a statement in here somewhere about the fulfillment of it, but I wanted to say this too. In verse 1, I'll reread this for us. For this reason, we must pay much closer attention to what we've heard so that we do not drift away from it. This statement, I really like this statement because it's where I got one of the lessons I made in college about this idea of a subconscious separation. It's very rare that a Christian will willingly go, Lord, I want to separate myself from you at this moment and do this sin. It's not often how it happens, especially if you go to church all day long, like you're in this Bible study, like say you're doing all the good things, you're in the right places, you're thinking the right way, and then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I want to disobey for sure. Like, that's not normal. That doesn't regularly happen. More so, this scenario comes to play where you're not paying close attention to what you've heard. You aren't paying close attention to the word. You're not paying close attention in church. Like, you're not really involving yourself.
You don't care.
Yeah. You've lost your passion for it. And so that we do not drift away from this word. And drifting away is what that looks like, is when you've lost your care, your passion for it, and you begin to let these other things of this world kind of seep in and take your interest away, and you really lose that part of you that holds tight to the word. Verse 2, for For if the word spoken through the angels proved unalterable, and every transgression and disobedience received a just penalty, how will we escape if we neglect so great a salvation? Saying these actions that you drift away from, that you're not the actions you drift away from, but you're drifting away causes these actions. There is a just penalty for these things.
Yeah.
And then verse 3 gives us the good news of how great a salvation will we be ignoring.
Well, and starting with verse 3, it poses a scary question, right? Of how can we escape if we neglect salvation? So it's that idea you brought up of the disobedience, choosing to neglect salvation, saying, I don't want this. How do we come back from that? And he follows in verse 3 and part of verse 4, explains that God confirms that not only is the word true, but the salvation he offers is true. It's not just an empty promise. It's not, well, if you were perfect and then came to me, you're fine. No, you neglected it. You can choose to neglect it later, and you can always come back. Like
right.
He's offered that it's not changing. And it's cool. Like we never see anywhere in history where God's character changes. He's always been truthful to what he said. Nothing's ever contradicted himself. He's always been that steadfast Savior, that steadfast God through the whole Bible.
Yeah. And just before we go on, and I want to ask you those questions we talked about as well, but just to, I guess, give a statement for this idea of subconscious separating. It's like, at least for me, understanding that when you like separate yourself subconsciously, there's no red flag dinging off in your mind. Like when you don't eat food, your body tells you like things are going off in your body and you need to eat food. That doesn't happen to our spiritual sense. And that's what can make this so hard about this drifting away, is that there's no flag dinging off in us. But that's where we need our brothers and sisters. We need the word in front of us. Like things can show up as that, but they're not quite as internal.
Yeah, I mean, there's situations where you can plainly see if you're being disobedient. You can see if you're choosing to neglect salvation. You know,
right.
If you're for American society, man, it's like it's entertainment. It's a big one. Like we've made it okay to watch certain movies, to watch certain YouTube channels. Like if you're got people questioning, hey man, this isn't right, or this maybe you shouldn't watch this person. Maybe you don't need to watch that TV show because what's being taught or the characters that are being displayed don't align with what the Bible would want you to be a part of. Maybe you need to cut that out of your life. Like that's those areas where, well, I really like the information I'm getting. Maybe I really like this TV show. I can watch it. I can overlook the fact that it's full of nudity, or I can overlook the fact that it's full of transgenderism.
Right. And that's where it can be dangerous, because you don't actually realize, because in that moment you're not making a mistake, but you're, like we said, subconsciously you're drifting from the truth. You're drifting from the purity.
You're allowing it to influence you whether you realize it or not. You're compromising enough every time, whether you think it's a compromise or not. You're allowing yourself to believe, I'm only watching a 5-minute video. It's fine.
Right. And then at some point you realize you've made a mistake. And by that point, you've already separated yourself. Like that mistake you made was not, I was with God 1 second and I'm not with the next. Like you have walked away in a sense. You've drifted away. Yeah,
that's the cool part about following up in verse 4, or I think it's the end of 3 and start of 4, but that salvation is always ready for you to come back.
And then do you have any kind of experience with this that you'd like to share today, where you've kind of drifted away but didn't really realize till it was a little too late and you had to I got to get back on track?
Yeah, no, I definitely go through highs and lows. I think most people do, and we probably need to talk about that more as Christians with other people, that we see each other on Sundays. We see each other at our best. We're all here to worship. We're having a good time. We're socializing. We don't necessarily see each other on Tuesday afternoon, It's hard to, you live in my driveway. I see you. But we kind of hide the fact that, man, I'm really struggling to do my Bible study this week.
Yeah.
Like I'm really struggling to watch my language this week, whatever your kryptonite is, like
Real?
We all have an issue that we need to talk about. And I don't know, I overwork myself. I overextend myself. I know I do. It's part of who I am. I overextend myself. It's just how I'm wired.
Bad.
I have to really keep myself in check constantly about what I'm taking on, because I'll take on too much stuff to have time for God.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest kryptonite right now. Is like I struggle with it a lot. And a lot of what I do is for the church.
Yeah.
But I'm doing it. I have so much to do that I have a poor attitude doing it. Then what's the point? Why am I working for the church, doing stuff for the church that I don't want to do? It defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
I'm no longer serving God. I'm begrudgingly doing other people's work. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. My weird thing right now is that I'm so task oriented that I'm not taking the time to really like be in the moment with God. That makes sense. So like Sunday, for example, back in Tennessee, I didn't have a class to teach every day or every time. So I would get to service 30 minutes early and like pray in the pew for 20 minutes or so and like have some Bible reading time. And that was really good for me because it allowed me to recenter, refocus, kind of keep my mind on one thing. And it was good because I looked forward to it. Like I looked forward to showing up early and getting that time to pray where it's quiet. And then eventually some of my friends at the church would come and join me. Like they started showing up early as well. And overall it made a pretty good impact, I think, on us and the others. But it's like here I don't really get that opportunity. Like I'd have to show super early to do that, which I can. I'm just not doing it. So that's one thing I want to start doing again. And then following that, I go home and I'm like, okay, I've got to prep this. I've got to make sure I've got this ready for this week. Am I going to work out? Like I'm thinking about all my other tasks on Sunday, which I try to knock out on Saturday so I can be relaxed on Sunday. But again, that's just pushing the problem to a different day. Like I need to be better about taking that moment to breathe. And like, even if it's 10 minutes or so, having that time to kind of pray. And I think part of my biggest issue is that I can't be outside. And outside is where I'm much better at like being in the world. And like, I feel like I'm in the presence of the Lord a lot easier there where
you're experiencing God's creation.
Yeah, I'm with his creation a lot more. So it helps me a lot. But here in the winter, I can't do that. So I'm stuck in an artificial home. So it's a dumb excuse to say I can't. Yeah. Because it's not what I'm saying. But it like we said, it kind of drifts me further from where I should be.
Yeah. Christianity is an identity. Mm-hmm. It's not I feel like this. I like this culture. It's an identity. Being a Christian is an identity. And if we took it that serious, if we lived our lives like it's an identity, you have a identity that you try to uphold, right? There's characteristics about you. There's a persona about you that that you want people to recognize in you, right?
Yeah.
Like for work, you want to be known as a hard worker. Like there's these things that is a part of your character, part of your identity that you try to portray. Christianity is a part of your identity. That's the one we let slip first. Like it's the first one to go out the window. And that's part of Satan's crafted a world around us that tears that wall down, and we have to be intentional to keep our guard up on those things. But,
that's good. We want to go into the second two verses there? Do you got anything to do?
5 through 8 is my next break.
I think the only things I had, which I think you already referred to, is law of the angels is Moses' law. And I think that's directly referred in Acts 7. Like it actually says like the word of the angels is from Moses' law.
And if I remember right, chapter 1 talks about the law from the prophets, or the things spoken through the prophets. This is the same message is being taught in both. It's not two separate laws. This is the same idea of the old law.
And I guess just to Don. I hope I don't. His last name's Spurgeon. Before I came here, he was a teacher at Sycamore that taught a little bit older folks, and I was like, this guy sounds like he's got a cool class. I think it was on Acts, and I was like, yeah, this sounds like an epic class. So I went and joined. Great teacher, he's awesome, and I highly doubt he's listening because I don't even know if he knows this podcast. But he is, which is good for me, but probably quite annoying for others because I do better when I hear the same thing 50 times. And he said he like hammered the idea that the law is perfect, we're flawed, right? But also it was possible for us to do, but we won't do it. And like that judgment is perfect in obedience. And what we're all just talking about here is that this system God has requires perfection and obedience. There's no reward for doing it right. Like this is the system is how it works. If you do it right, you get here. Like that's pretty cut and dry. There's no for example, if I don't run a red light, I don't get $20 from the government. Like you only get fined if you don't do it. Like that's how this law works. And that's why Jesus is so necessary, that we won't keep it and we can't keep it. So Jesus comes to make up the difference, I guess.
Yeah.
And it reminded me as we were talking about the unalterable law and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Excited to go see him again.
We by ourselves are not perfect. And that's part of what this author is going to continue to point out, is that we're not perfect. You only have access to God because of Jesus. The only reason you have an opportunity to be saved is because Jesus is that mediator for you. He's interceding for you with God. I wish I could see like what that looks like. Is Jesus up there? Like, I mean, it's all deity, so it doesn't look like this at all in real life. But in my head, you have this cartoon scene of God sitting in his throne and Jesus before him, like, hey, no, this guy, let him in. He's trying to do his best. He's being my servant. Like, I mean, in my simple mind, that's how that looks,
Your pea-sized brain.
But it's all deity, so God already know it. Like, I can't explain that side of it.
Can't even imagine.
But that is a cool thought.
I think of a courtroom when I think of it.
Yeah.
It's like Jesus is my
lawyer.
My lawyer. The Holy Spirit is my eyewitness. It's like, hey, let's not bring up those other days. Let's talk about these.
Smack his hand, God. I've been telling him. Yeah. 5-8. You want to read it or you want me to?
I don't care. Okay,
I'll read it.
No,
I'll do it. I can do it, maybe.
No, you got it.
For he has not put the world to come of which we speak in subjection.
5-8?
Yes. In subjection to angels, but one testified in a certain place, saying, what is man that you are mindful of him, or the son of man that you take care of him? You have made him a little lower than the angels. You have crowned him with glory and honor, and set him over the works of your hands. You have put all things in subjection under his feet. For in that he put all in subjection under him, he left nothing that is not put under him. But now we do not yet see all things put under him.
I just realized I had like 5 more paragraphs on 3 and 4, but it's a little.
I had a couple things too, but we're rambling, so we're getting into good conversations.
Please, before we move on, because I wanted to ask this question and I didn't realize we skipped over it. We hit on the drifting away, but is there an experience that we can share where we literally were like, screw this, I don't care anymore. I'm doing this because I want to hurt God? Because I think a lot of people have been here before.
Yeah, I don't know that I've been like in that specific scenario where like I'm doing this to spite God. I've always had that in the back of my mind.
Not necessarily to spite God. I guess it could be that, but it also, I guess the question can also be, I know this hurts God, but I'm choosing it anyway for whatever reason. Yeah.
I don't know. I've definitely struggled with like my job. Like last winter I was the new guy. So, and I work Sundays. So I leave from here to church. I work Sunday nights. And my shift falls like right in the middle of services when I'm supposed to be there. So I struggled last winter with, I'm the new guy. I can't really make special requests. Like I tried to change my shift, but it's better than the alternative. For my line of work, I'd be going to the slope, which means I'd be gone for weeks to months at a time.
Yeah.
So at least I can be here for like half a service and then I'll leave.
Yeah.
So I definitely struggle with that. Like probably the right solution should be I quit my job and I go flip burgers or do whatever I need to.
Yeah.
This year, I don't feel like that was an option with a new baby and going down to a single family income. Like I got to be making a certain amount of money to stay afloat. And that's just not attainable at City Market or Fred Meyer's, like I can't do it. So that's definitely something I've struggled with where I know the right solution, but I can't give up the dollar amount. This year I've worked myself, like last year I worked my butt off. I worked really hard for the guy and he understands like this is really important to me. So I get to leave after service now and I just show up half hour late. And he just tells City Hall that I'm taking my lunch break. So
nice.
It works out really good now. Like it's paid off and God's found a way for that to work for me. But it's still a struggle for me because I know what I should have done or what I probably should still. Like Sunday night service is not a commandment. There's no reason I have to be here on a Sunday night or a Wednesday Bible study. It's not in the Bible. Like you're not sinning for not going.
Right.
But we should desire that fellowship with each other. And I do desire it. And really bothers me. Like I go through seasonal depression stuff, and it really triggers that seasonal depression to not be able to interact with the church. And so I know the solution, right? Like not only for myself, but for God. But I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place with it.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. Luckily, you just call me and I just tell you about Bible stuff later. So
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of went around your question a little bit, but I don't know. I haven't had another, like, I don't have a huge moment where the reality is any sin that you have is doing this.
Right.
You know?
But like we talked about, it's the intention. Like I am purposely doing this. Oh my, what did I just do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't even remember what it was, but I do remember this where it's because most times I don't think about the sin I've done until after I've done it. But I don't know what it was, but I remember in high school, like there was only one instance ever where I don't even think I was like mad at God. I just wanted whatever it was so much more than I could care about anything else. So I literally was like, I had a moment, like I swear, like in prayer, I'm like, God, I literally don't care. I'm doing this. And like, I literally don't even remember what I did. It could be as dumb as like cussing someone out. Like I literally have no idea what it was. But I knew it was wrong and I did it anyway. And I like told God I was going to do it before I did it. And I have never felt such like, holy crap, I've really messed up until like after that fact. And I was pretty new as a Christian. Like I was only within a year. And I like still know that feeling pretty well. So now that doesn't mean I don't sin anymore, but it definitely means that, you know, I consider the things here and if it ever does, God does supply me with enough strength that whenever things like that do pop up, I am most times able to say, like, I don't want to do that to him. But there are times that obviously I don't think about it and subconsciously drift away. And then I end up in places that I put myself in situations where I don't win that fight, you know?
Yeah. Romans 6, verse 1, what shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? Certainly not. How shall we who died to sin live any longer to it? Or do you not know that as many of us were baptized into Christ Jesus, were baptized into his death? Therefore, we were buried with him through baptism into death, that just as Christ was raised from the dead by the glory of the Father, even so we also should walk in newness of life. But that first statement of what shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? The idea here is exactly what you're talking about. I know it's a sin, but God's grace is going to cover me, so it's fine for me to do it. Like I can ask for forgiveness for it later. It's fine.
But that was not what's going in my head.
Right.
But I get what you're saying, though. Yeah.
It's obviously a big enough issue that it's in the Bible, right? Like,
and I think that's very relatable to a lot of people in this world.
Yeah.
Like, I think I see a lot of Christians in the world that at least claim the title, and you know, they say like, "Oh yeah, praise God, like I'm for it," and then I see them do something that makes absolutely no sense to the correlation of how
I'm a Christian. It's fine.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't think any of them would ever admit that, but in your heart, like that's what you think. And that's that's at least how you live, you know? But we can move past that now. I just didn't want to miss that question. I scrolled down. I was like, oh wait, I have a section for 3 through 4.
Yeah. No, it's worth bringing up. Yeah. So verses 5 through 8 brings up this idea that Jesus was made lower than the angels.
You can just edit it and put the 5 through 8.
And I just leave our rambling together because it gets really confusing when I start breaking it up. But this brings up a weird question. Why was Jesus made lower than the angels? That doesn't make sense in our pea brains, you know?
Might be.
Why does he have to have a body? Angels do not die, but Jesus died. If he's more superior, then the new law must be harder to follow than the old law, right? If this higher being's creating a new law, it's got to be harder to follow than this law that lesser beings made. But at creation, so to start at the beginning of what this is all going to bring up, is the idea of us as mankind. So at creation, man was over everything. God set us in charge of everything. Mm-hmm. Even death. In the Garden of Eden, death wasn't a thing. There was no such thing as death. They were already in God's presence.
Yeah.
They weren't going to experience death. But in our humanity, at the fall of man, we lost control over death and our standing with God during the fall of Adam. But Jesus, in his humanity, regained control over death for all mankind. So I don't know if I explained that very clearly. Maybe you can help me walk through that. But the idea is we lost our access to God. We lost control over death. Without our access to God, we can't be saved. We couldn't regain it. Nothing I do can regain our access to God.
Like I think you're there, but I think we're a little, because there is a way back to God. Like there was the law of Moses. There was a way
For the Jews.
Yeah, for the Jews, but the rest of mankind, I don't know. That's a question for God, bro.
Yeah. Well, we also
I don't know why the Jews were excluded, or the only ones included.
We don't necessarily know that they were.
Yeah.
Like there were other groups of people on earth at the time, but the Jews and the Old Testament is what's going to bring us Jesus. And we have to understand that Jesus was the plan for salvation all along.
Right.
God's foreknowledge knows how humanity is going to work. He gives us free will. So that doesn't mean like people take the idea of predestined as, well, God already knows what I'm going to do, so why does it matter? No, he knows, but he still gives us the option to choose. Just because he knows what I'm going to do doesn't mean he took away my option to do it.
Yeah, I think no. This is obviously, all of this is speculative. Like we don't actually truly know the exact way it all works. I like to think of it as like God sees you and he sees like all the branches that you could go on, and he's just following you as you go. So it's like you can choose left or right here, but he knows the outcome of either choice. And so I like to think of that, because that still gives us the free will to choose, but it also tells us that God does know what's happening next.
I don't know. I slightly disagree, because we're told that God is all-knowing.
Yeah, he knows what you could do.
I don't think it takes away from free will to admit that he knows the day I die. Like, I think he already knows what day I'm going to die, how I'm going to die.
At the end of that tree branch, there's still a
yeah. I think he knows every aspect of our lives. Like, he knows the day he's going to end the world. Like,
yeah.
I fully believe he knows, but that doesn't take away the idea of free will. Like, but with that, God knows humanity's going to fall. He knows that he's going to have to wipe everybody out with the flood when he creates us. Like, he knows these things, but he desired that companionship with his creation, that he created us, and gave us an opportunity to get to him. So that's the whole idea of the Old Testament's bringing Jesus along, getting us prepared, understanding humanity, understanding God. And then Jesus comes. And because we chose to walk away from God as humanity, we could no longer do anything to regain ourselves.
Yeah, we couldn't be united in the garden, in a sense. Like that portion can't happen until we're back in heaven.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people have a hard time understanding that the fruit that was eaten was of knowledge. Like when Eve ate of that fruit, now she understands sin. She has knowledge of good and evil. Before this, evil wasn't a thing. Like outside the garden walls, it obviously was because of Satan, right? But as far as humanity was concerned, evil hadn't entered their mind. Yeah. There wasn't a corrupt thought. Like there was no idea of evil. They didn't even know they were naked. They didn't know nakedness was a sin. And it wasn't necessarily sin, but they didn't know that it was a problem. Like now we know, hey, this is a problem.
Lust enters the world now.
Right. So if you have to remember that, like that's the part that changed everything, is now we have an understanding of evil. We've let evil in. But Jesus creates that pathway back to God. If Jesus would have just been crucified and laid in a tomb, there would be no salvation.
Yeah, it wouldn't.
It doesn't have, I don't want to say it doesn't have anything to do with his crucifixion. He could have died any way God wanted him to. That's not necessarily the part that makes this work. The part is that he conquered death. He rose on the third day. That's the biggest part, and that's...
I think there's a lot of prophecy. Jesus could have died however, but I think at the end of the day, like, there's so much of that crucifixion that directly correlates to the understanding of Jews. Right. So I think if he doesn't die that way, it's missed.
Right.
Like, I think it's perfect that it's that way.
Right.
I did hear one thing that is not necessarily cool, because it's not cool that Jesus got nailed to a cross, but interesting is that, like, if Jesus did know that he was going to be crucified on a cross from like birth, and he was a carpenter, so he spent his the first however many years of his life like nailing nails into wood, like hearing that sound over and over again to then to know that that's going to be his outcome in the future. Like that's kind of depressing.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine knowing that and then still choosing to? Like, there's a sermon in there somewhere.
Yeah. Well, chapter 1 proved to us that Jesus is deity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we know that Jesus knew he was going to the cross. He knew his mission when he was born. Like, and that's. Let me see if I need to get there yet.
But even that's a little spectacle. Like, that's not concrete. I think it's assumed based off of his characteristic of being God. But again, that's so much of what we're saying is what's in the mind of God in Jesus, and we can't simply prove that, you know?
Yes and no. Like, you can't take the deity out of Jesus.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know how far that extended to him on earth, right? But he's still God. So,
because he had to be lesser than the angels. So there has to be somewhat of there has to be I guess, less enough deity to make him more like human or something. You know?
Yeah, the lesser that I think is being talked about is that he's becoming a physical mankind being.
Yeah,
the angels aren't physical men. They're a different creation. Jesus became man. He became that creation. I think that's part of what it's talking about being lesser. And we don't see anywhere that the angels die. We don't see that angels die. We do see that Jesus dies. So that makes him lesser in like the scale of deities, I guess, or the scale of spiritualness, however you want to phrase this, stuff we don't understand. But I do think there are things that we can say like concrete that Jesus was God. Like we can't,
because he says that.
Yeah.
He's like, I am. Well, not explicitly, but in Jewish understanding, he's like, I am or whatever.
So there are some things that we speculate on, like what Jesus knew. Like we see that Jesus grows by going to the temple and wanting to study in the temple, and he's having conversations. Like that's part of growing as a human. Mm-hmm. So
like, is he doing that because he needed to, or is he doing that because to show us what we're supposed to do? Like that's the question.
I think that's a huge part, which we're going to get to, of why Jesus came as a man, is to be an example. He lived and experienced life how we're supposed to. So we can't say, oh, it's not doable. I can't live this life. Well, Jesus did.
That's the whole point, is to say, like, that's why Jesus had to be man.
Yeah.
Because if he wasn't man, then he isn't living within the parameters God has set before mankind. He's like, these are the rules for you. You have chosen not to do them. I'm sending my son to do them so that law can be fulfilled.
Yeah. You look at any other religion, any other kind of doctrine, religion, like they don't, the God in that religion doesn't follow their own rules. They just reap the benefits of having a bunch of servants, you know?
Yeah.
Like God sent a part of himself to earth to live under his rule, to complete his rule, and then prove to us that, hey, we can follow this. We can reach the salvation.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
I saw something online too that I really liked, and it said that Christianity is the only religion that sends their God to their people, while every other religion makes it the people's job to go to God. Like if you think of Nirvana, for example, or Buddhism's starting, like they have to live their lives to get to that state of enlightenment. Like it's you have to do all the work to get there. But in Christianity, it's the opposite. God does all the work to get to you. Like he's made all these rules so that this can happen, and then we fail. So he makes another way for this to happen. And then his first way, it was that way. We screwed up, made it problematic. God made a way to make it happen with Moses. We didn't follow it. He's now made a new way that to fulfill such way that he has to abide by his own parameters that he's set before mankind by having to send his son to defeat the death that we had lost in the beginning. Now we have a new way of salvation that is attainable, and now you just got to be willing.
Yeah, we're getting way off track, but I think it's worth bringing up, like to keep going down this rabbit hole of the idea of the salvation we're offered and versus these other
we
religions.
Could also stop halfway.
We may end up doing it. I don't know.
We're not even hitting the notes I wrote down.
I know. I'm not even getting to half of mine, but the idea, like versus all these other religions and Christianity, we're offered, like when we come out of the waters of baptism, when we decide to put on Christ, to be a Christian, we come up a new creation. These other religions, like you're talking about, you have to like work yourself into this role
Yeah.
of being worthy, right? We come out of the waters, we know nothing. We have a weird idea of
You're not required to know everything.
yeah, we
guess
have a
there's a
weird
better way.
idea, and I don't know if it's American culture, if it's maybe just
Our church world.
yeah, I don't know like where it stems from, but that you already have to know and you have to have your life turned around to be baptized.
That's not what Jesus says.
No, be baptized. That's the beginning of your walk with God. That's the day you decide, hey,
Not
I want to
necessarily
change.
true. You have to deny yourself first. Like admit,
Right.
yeah.
There's more
Admit that
goes
there needs to be
along with
changed,
it.
but
all of that happens in the
pick
same
up your cross
yeah.
and then you follow. The following him is the last step.
Yeah.
Like figuring out what all this is, that's doing it after.
We have the idea that it begins and ends at baptism. Like
Yeah, that's definitely not right.
you got to have everything right. You got to already have your life worked out. You got to know some of the Bible. Now you can be baptized. And then we forget that, oh, they're a new babe in Christ. What's a babe? A baby, right? What does a baby know? Nothing.
Nothing.
And then we forget to
All it
train
knows
these new
is
Christians
I need
up.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's all it knows.
And we forget to train these new Christians up. We celebrate them when they come out of the waters, and then next Sunday we see them, and it's like,
So what are you teaching class?
you got to figure it out now, right? No, and for anybody that's listening that it has not decided to give themselves to God, like, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
If you know that you need to be saved, go be saved.
Yeah.
You don't need to have it all figured out right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is the beginning of your walk with God.
I think a lot of people's secondary issue to that is they know they need saving, but they also know that it requires more than
Right.
they want to give. So it's like, how do you fight that line? Is it like I know I need saving, but I'm not willing to give this up, which is essentially saying you're like, I don't want to be saved. Is essentially what that is.
I want the benefits of
translating
salvation,
to.
but I don't want to do what it requires.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's more so the hardest part, because a lot of people can just be like, yeah, I'd love to be saved.
That's why the idea of once saved, always saved is so popular. Like,
Yeah.
I can just commit myself to God for a day and then I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, that's
And
not the way.
it's totally a valid thing to be fearful of, but I also think that in baptism, that fear dwindles because you no longer. There's some weird thing that happens when the Holy
You
Spirit
receive the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, the Holy Spirit dwells in you, and you like there is no. I don't know. Like I can't imagine a life without God.
I don't know how the Holy Spirit really works, and I can't wait to like understand that. But
Matthew 4:10.
even like
For it is written,
Yeah.
you shall worship the Lord your God and serve him only.
the way it feels to me is like it's this like mental conscience on steroids. Like I don't know what maybe it's different for everybody, like the way it works in your life, but I don't know. For me, it just makes me super aware. I think it just helps us know better. Like I don't know how it actually works in our lives, but it's a helper. What is it helping with? Get to heaven. Like
Yeah.
I don't know what it's doing in the background, but it's doing stuff.
It's doing stuff. I don't know what it's doing, but it's doing stuff. Yeah, the Holy Spirit, I don't know. I'm so young that I haven't learned nearly enough, but I know there's so much out there. And I truthfully, I don't think it's a lot of what I see.
And I need to commit this verse to memory because I bring it up a lot. But it says that we're not supposed to know everything. Like,
Yeah.
we're not going to know everything, and we need to be okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's God hiding stuff from us. I think it's because he knows something like a spiritual life we don't understand. We can't. He knows what he put in our
Our
DNA.
pea brains can't fathom.
He knows how he designed us. If he's saying that we just don't need to know everything, that's for our own good. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I
because
think we can
can't
take
understand it.
a hint from Eve and say, look, I don't need to know everything.
Yeah. If it's bothering you that you can't understand how God works or how the Holy Spirit works, try and think about eternity. Can you wrap your mind around eternity?
Yeah, I wish.
Like, start there.
I don't
and then
think-
question God.
I'm just not that person, though. I know there's a lot of people out there that are like, I need to understand to have confidence in anything. Like I need to have full understanding. And for me, there's so much peace in just not having to know.
Yeah.
Which is like preposterous for a lot of people, which I understand. But I mean, do you break out your microscope and check every pill you've ever taken? No. Of course not. Like you have faith in everything.
Microplastics, bro.
Yeah, like there's do you check the GED of every professional that does anything for you? No, you don't. Like they have. There's so many things that that we wouldn't claim to, claim as an absolute 100% fact. In fact, there's so many things that aren't that we claim as facts anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the most amazing things about the Bible to me is everything that you need to know to be saved is very simple. Like, it's very easy to understand.
Yeah. And then there's more.
And but that's the cool thing is, and I don't even think that's for God. Like the extra knowledge that God puts in the Bible for us, I don't even think that's for him.
It's for us. I created some curious people.
I think it's for us to continue to grow closer to him.
Yeah.
Like for us to have something we can invest our minds into. Like you'll never, if you ever think you have it all figured out, that's your first sign you don't. Because there are layers and layers to the Bible. Like, and you don't, I don't know. I admire the people that can just talk about the Bible and quote verses and like they don't need to open their Bible. I admire it. Like you've put your time in to be able to do that,
Yeah.
But I think it chases off a lot of younger people that are younger spiritually, not necessarily age-wise, but people that are wanting to be a Christian or that are just a new Christian. Like it's intimidating. Like I have to be like that to be saved.
Yeah.
No, like
it's
a personal.
Have you ever watched Tim Tebow?
Yeah.
Like the stuff he says. I think he is a wonderful example of a meek, knowledgeable Christian. Like he quotes verses, but he says it in such a way that's so like there's so much peace behind it that I'm like, I don't have to live up to that standard. He doesn't want me to live up to his standard. He wants me to understand like the core truths. He wants me to realize the truth and follow it. But he also is so knowledgeable and he's so meek about it that he's not like firing these scriptures all the time. But I know he has it. Like I love hearing what Tim Tebow has to say sometimes, especially, I don't know, maybe it's just his tone of voice. Like it's so gentle. It's like he's warm. He's being so warm and kind, but Tim Tebow does a great job at it.
I don't know. We understand it in other areas of our life. Like we understand, like I'm going to achieve financial goals at a different pace you are. You're going to achieve different financial goals at a pace I am. Like all these other areas, like I'm going to grow in my job at a different pace than you're going to grow in your job.
Yeah.
Like there's all these things we understand it in, but for some reason Christianity and our walk with God, we're like, oh, we all have to be at the same playing field right now. Like that's not the way it works, man. It's a personal walk with God.
I mean, I definitely get that way. We talked about it with that one person that I was like, I like, he's here and doing this thing and he's, he's so knowledgeable. And like, I'm giving myself the excuse like, well, he has this, that, and that, and he's been in internships and he went to Bible school, all these things that I didn't do, but I also chose not to do any of those things. Yeah. Like, and I get down on myself a little bit thinking like, oh, I'm not good enough or I need to do more, but that's not the way it should be.
There's only one way to get there,
Yeah. It's like understanding that I'm on my pace. So off track.
We're so far in the weeds, but I think it's worth talking about this stuff.
I did too. Cause a lot of this stuff is more relatable. Like Hebrews is great and it's good that we're learning, but I think it's also great that there's segments in this podcast that we relate to others.
Well, what good is reading verses if we can't apply it to life? Like that means we just don't need the Bible. We'll just throw it away. If it doesn't apply to life, then throw it away. So it's good that like we're willing to talk about these conversations when they come up. And I know we've talked about like trying to structure the podcast in different ways. And I don't know, maybe it's unentertaining to people watching, but
you guys love this.
Yeah. But you never know who's having these thoughts and can't find the answers to them. And maybe we shed some light on it or get them pointed in the right direction. So it's definitely worth being talked about.
Leave a comment, guys. We've talked a lot about questions and real life experiences this podcast. So I'm hoping you guys leave some comments in the descriptions.
Yeah. If nothing else, hopefully we're getting you to look into your own life,
Yeah, make you think about it a little bit.
Yeah. So back full circle to where we started.
What are we doing here? We're at an hour.
Well, that's from our rambling before. I started a while before we started the podcast.
Okay, so what, like 10, 15 minutes?
We got like 20.
But if we're gonna go,
I say we just go. But
okay.
We'll see what happens.
So I was like, we're about halfway through.
It may just be a long podcast, but we're trying not to drag.
Okay, we're about halfway through, so we can stop now and have a whole nother half, or we could be like, we're gonna run it up.
Nah, I ain't done.
But we're gonna run it.
The unfortunate part is we have to go all the way back to where we started this conversation at. We were talking about the Jesus. We were talking about that Jesus was made lower than angels. We talked about the idea of why this could be, and something I did want to bring up that when we hear the idea of Son of Man, we always think of Jesus immediately.
Yeah,
Son of Man doesn't always mean Jesus, and you'll notice in your Bible, which The people that translated the Bible, the scholars that have combed over the Bible, they've done a really good job of breaking some of the stuff down for us and making it easier to digest. So you'll notice, like, it'll say Son of Man, and it's not capitalized.
Yeah.
It's because it's not always meaning Son of Man. And if you go to the Greek, when you see it uncapitalized, the Greek will translate it a Son of Man.
He's just one of them.
Yeah, so it's a little different than the Son of Man, right? I just thought that was an interesting thing to throw out there because a lot of times we just think of Jesus immediately. But the main idea of this section here, and this is it's a psalm. Do you remember what psalm this is? I believe it's chapter 2, right?
It's Psalm 8.
Psalm 8?
4 through 6. Yes.
Ah, there it is. Yes. So this is a quote from a psalm. Some of it's a little different.
A lot of Hebrews actually is. I think there's
right. There's a lot of quotes. But that's where this is coming from. But the author is using this to compare Jesus to men. So if the Son of Man was meaning Jesus the whole time here, the author would be comparing Jesus to Jesus. So that's why it's important to understand the difference between a Son of Man and the Son of Man. I even have it in my notes. This quote comes from Psalm 8. Look at that.
Look at that. So smart. You were half prepared.
A big point that I want to make is that God takes care of man, and Jesus does not need tending to or to be cared for. We do. That's part of what this psalm or this quote's proving is Jesus doesn't need us to take care of him. We do. Yeah, that's all I got for. Well, that's not all I got, but we could wrap up verse 8.
That's generally, yeah. Those are the good things I have as well. 10 through 13 or 9 through 13. Sorry, I sectioned mine off by 9. I don't know why, but
I do also have 1 point for 9.
Okay. But we do not see him who was made for a little while lower than the angels, namely Jesus, because of the suffering of death, crowned with glory and honor, so that by the grace of God he might taste death for everyone. Do you want to hit that real quick? Or do you want me to go?
My biggest point here was to follow along with the idea between Son of Man and Jesus, the idea between us as men and Jesus as a man. This word "but," it's making the transition to talking specifically about Jesus. If you want to, whatever your point was, I'm going to pull up a verse here.
It's pretty much the same.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't. So Philippians 2:5. I'll read this and hopefully it'll. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ. I don't know exactly where I was going with that. Let's read it.
It's okay.
I don't know. I had it for verse 9. But we see Jesus, who has made a little lower than angels for the suffering of death, crowned with glory and honor, that he, by the grace of God, might taste death for everyone. I think I was kind of going, I don't know. I'm going to skip that because I lost my train of thought on that.
Cut it out. You're the editor.
Yeah, I'll leave it in there. I'm a mess up.
All right, 10.
Yeah.
For it was fitting for him for whom are all things, and through whom are all things, in bringing many sons to glory, to perfect the author of their salvation through suffering. For both he who sanctifies and those who are sanctified are all from one Father, for which reason he is not ashamed to call them brethren, saying, I will proclaim your name to my brethren. In the midst of the congregation I will sing your praise, and again I will put my trust in him, and again, behold, I and the children whom God has given me.
We talked about this a little bit, but this is kind of hammering in the point that God's plan has always been to bring us to salvation. There's never a point where like this was an afterthought that God was like, I need to save these people. Like he's always wanted and desired us to be saved.
Mm-hmm.
But
I have a quick sub-note on that.
We have to continue to hear and learn. And the Hebrews are turning away from what they had heard. And this is encouraging them to point back to hearing and learning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the term "it was fitting," I really like that because it just all the more paints a clear picture that this was God's plan. Like the plan was to redeem humanity through Christ's suffering. No miracle, no thing he did was by accident. It was all intentional. Everything had its purpose. And it all led to this great glory that we have through sanctification to be back with God.
In verse 10, does yours say perfect through suffering? That salvation was made perfect through sufferings? Or is yours saying fitting?
Through suffering?
The last half of verse 10.
Yeah, perfect. To perfect the author of their salvation.
Okay. So
through suffering.
I thought this was cool. The word perfect means reaching desired end. It's not like it needed fixed.
Yeah, there's actually no word for perfect, and like that doesn't actually exist in this time period.
It's weird, right?
Like in Hebrew, it's the word good. Like that's what perfect. Yeah. Our perfect in the Old Testament means good.
Yeah, I just like the idea of like if we are trying to make something perfect, it's because it needs worked on, like it needs fixed. Like
something's wrong with it.
Like the idea here is that it's reaching the desired end. It's reached the desired end, which is really cool. Like
that
just
cool.
it just continues to beat that idea of that this was God's plan from the beginning. And it just shows God's authorship through all of it. Like I don't know, I thought that was cool.
Freaking crazy, bro.
Continuing through becoming Christians, we're all of one, meaning by being set apart. And we've talked about this before, the idea of being set apart. This is being sanctified. Being sanctified, we become a Christian, we're set apart for God's purpose. And we're set apart by God when we become the same nature as God, which is really, really interesting. And I know you had a question about that, so I kind of answered it early on.
You just answered it already.
Yeah.
I said, what does it mean to be sanctified? But we already hit on it. I think that's going to come up a lot. So we probably won't reiterate that anymore because I think we've said it twice now. But sanctified is to be set apart. But I would like to take a moment. We can either maybe talk about suffering and what that looks like, but I don't know. What do you think? Do you think we should take a moment to talk about what it looks like to be a Christian through suffering, or not really?
I don't know. We did a lot in our first John study.
Okay, so we'll bypass it then. We're already kind of pushing through.
Yeah,
but
it's something we don't necessarily understand in American culture. I will say that, like our idea of suffering versus what they're going through in suffering is very different. So count our blessings there.
Yeah, bro. But I would like to say two quick things. I really like how God wants to sanctify us. I just love how he brings us into his likeness by putting himself in our likeness. Yeah. Like he brings us back to heaven by putting himself like us, which is the whole putting him into humanity. Again, like we talked about earlier, Christianity is the only form of religion that does that, where the God makes himself like the people he's in charge of. And again, that paints a beautiful picture. I also, are we ready to move forward or do you have more things?
I have a couple things.
Okay, go ahead.
Will you reread verses 12 and 13?
Saying, I will proclaim your name to my brethren. In the midst of the congregation, I will sing your praise. And again, I will put my trust in him. And again, behold, I and the children whom God has given me. Okay,
so remember, the writer is trying to prove who Jesus was and who he's over. He's proven his deity and that he's over everything. Now he has to prove Jesus was a man. Mm-hmm. He's done a really good job of showing where Jesus fits in creation. As far as being a deity. Yeah. Now he's going to kind of really transition and focus on that Jesus was a man. So verses 12 and 13 are really have 3 points that show Jesus' humanity that I wanted to point out. One, he associates himself as a brother with us under God, and that's kind of along with what you're talking about. 2, he trusts in God with physical and spiritual needs. And 3, he calls us both brethren and children because he is both among us and over us. It's really cool to see that, like, Jesus went through everything we go through. You think about, I believe it's Matthew 4, Jesus is tempted by Satan in the desert.
Yep.
Like,
I'll tell you all 3 things he said.
But it's cool to see, like, Satan wouldn't tempt Jesus if Jesus couldn't be tempted. And the writer of Hebrews,
for it is written, man shall not live on bread alone, but on every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God.
He says a lot more than that, but
that's just the first. That's just the fourth verse.
But I don't know. I think it's really cool to see that, like, just that he is he was among us. He was experiencing life as we experienced life. Like, he was doing the things. He was experiencing the things, tested by the things, all for us.
I'll die on this hill. I think Jesus was more human than he was God.
I wish I knew how it worked.
My personal thought, because, like, that's the only way it makes sense. If he is more God than he is human, he didn't follow his own rule book. Like, he has to be fully human. He has to go through this temptation. He has to choose God every day in order for this law to be fulfilled. And if he's God and it's not that hard for him, then he isn't doing it.
Yeah. No, I definitely get what you're saying. Like
he has to be.
In the garden, praying to God, like needing God's comfort,
he
wanting the situation to pass from him. I definitely get what you're saying.
He's feeling the power come out of him. Like these things are all indicating that there is God there for sure.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of human in there too.
Point being, like, you can't take the man out of Jesus. People want to take
you can't, like,
the humanity out of Jesus.
If that's the case, we don't have salvation and we're cooked.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big thing that a lot of people, a lot of scholars that are non-believers, a lot of, like, they'll try to, like, take away the point of Christ's humanity. And I don't see how you can. Obviously, even the Jews were having a hard time with it because it's a big part of chapter 2. But yeah, how do you take humanity out of Jesus? But
Kim, I also love how it says that Jesus is not ashamed to call us his brethren.
Yeah,
you hit on the brethren thing a little bit, but I just find so much comfort in knowing that the man that we put on a cross can still call us brothers and sisters. Like I can't even imagine how many Christians that we know that somebody does wrong by, and they're like, to hell with you.
Think of any other ruler that associates its subjects as family.
David? That's all I can think of.
I don't even think he counted his concubines as family. I don't know.
You did, what's his name? Not Thomas. whoever Saul's cousin is or something. What's his name?
I don't know where you're going.
He's his little brother or something, and he like protected him. He protected David from going into that dinner to die. What's his name? Dadgummit.
So Nathan has a question here. He's going to ask us because I have it marked in my notes.
Okay, so he said move on.
We don't know where Nathan's going.
No, but that's he took him and he was like, who is the descendant of this person? And then it was a dude with a long name starting with an M. And he brought him in his house. He was the descendant of Saul, the king that was supposed to be opposing. Anyway, whatever, dude.
I believe you somewhere.
You just don't know your Bible. I just don't know the names. Are we? Is this a question?
I'm just wrapped up from up to verse 13.
If Jesus could sing, is that?
I think so.
I wonder if Jesus can sing well. That's my question. I wonder if we get to heaven and Jesus is just belting it up out there. Or if he's kind of a quiet guy, you know.
I feel like there was more to your question. Maybe is it a 2-part question?
With the singing one?
Yeah.
Oh. In regards to, like, should we be singing?
I think that's what it was, because I wrote down a verse. Yeah,
because we talked about the idea that, like, even though we don't think we sing all that well, we should still be praising.
Right. I think you had a question that was along the lines of, should we sing, or like, are we expected to sing? Something like that.
Like not necessarily the quality of our singing, but should we be singing for the heck of it because I'm praising God, so I'm yelling at the top of my lungs?
Right.
Or should I be singing to make a good sound for the Lord?
So this is an interesting thing for me because I'm not a musical person.
Or should I be scared and never sing at all? Like,
yeah, I love listening to music, but I don't like to sing.
Yeah.
Well, I do like to sing. I guess.
The shower. I'll be hearing you
in the car. You know.
Yeah, I hear you every time you drive by. You're like singing in the shower.
That's exactly what I say. But I don't have a good exactly. I don't have a good voice, so it's always been weird for me, and especially like through your teenage years, like you're trying not to look like a fool. You know.
Yeah, but you don't look stupid.
Like, yeah, you're embarrassed by your singing
Justin
voice.
Bieber, no.
So Kyle Click had a guy that he was studying with. Or I don't even know that he was studying with them. Maybe he was a member of their church or something, but the guy wouldn't sing. And I wish I could remember the question that Kyle asked him. I was going to ask him before the podcast, but I can't remember. I forgot.
You failure.
I'll ask him. But
next podcast.
He said something that made it click. And this guy is like 60, 70 years old. Like he's been a Christian for a very long time, but he doesn't sing. He refuses to. He follows along in the hymn book, but he won't sing. And I can't remember what Kyle said to him, but it changed his idea on it, and he started singing. But it was along the lines, and I remember he used Colossians 3:16 for it. He was super excited when he told me about it. But let the word of Christ dwell in you richly in all wisdom, teaching and admonishing one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing with grace in your hearts to the Lord. And whatever you do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him. And he pitched it to this guy in a way of like, I wish I could remember his exact line, but hopefully he remembers.
Hey, if he's watching, put in the comments, please.
Yeah. But he was talking about, like, you're not singing for me. You're not singing for the song leader.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
You're not singing for any of us in the room. There's a point where us collectively, like, we're building each other up by singing, but that's not the main purpose. It's about
Right.
what's in your heart. You're doing this for your God, for Jesus. Like, you just beat on that point of, like, you're doing this for God, and you're choosing not to you're not singing because of God. You're choosing to just...
Yeah, that's
Why?
like saying like, oh, I'm gonna have my own fleshly desire here because I don't want to do your.
It's like saying, I'm not going to pray.
Oh yeah,
I don't want this communication with God.
because I'm not very good at talking to God.
I'm not very good at
I don't
praying,
wanna
so I'm
pray.
just not going to pray.
Yeah,
God says he wants us to pray to him. He says he wants us to sing to him.
Yeah.
Does this mean you got to go like start singing everywhere? No, I don't. My wife does, but she also enjoys singing. So she sings hymns all the time.
yeah,
That's not commanded. But I do think there's a point where God's like, hey, sacrifice a little bit of yourself and sing. We're told to sing. It's a command to sing in our worship service. I think that's a command for everybody to sing, regardless of your voice. And we talked about, like, there's some people that just, like, will scream it out. And,
yeah, dude. You can be a distraction by yelling. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care how much you think you're praising God, you're creating more problems.
I mean,
Personally,
are you singing? I think it comes down to back to, like, of the heart. Like, are you singing so everybody else hearing you? Or are you singing?
well, I differ anyway. Like, I don't care if you think that you're giving the Lord everything you got.
It's extra praise.
Like, you can be David dancing on the street. That's fine. Give it all you got there. But when we're in the service, God calls for order.
Yeah.
And he says there is a system to this. And this is it. Think about it like this. If your wife was like, look, this would mean a lot to me if you could do this. If you could wash the dishes and put them up in this specific way. I want you to order the dishes like this with the plates on the left, the bowls on the right. You do it that way because you love your wife.
You've been talking to my wife.
No. But you do it that way because that's what your wife has asked of you. I don't care if you're like, but look how clean they are. I don't give a darn. They're not where they're supposed to be.
Put them in the wrong cupboard.
Like, at the end of the day, he's still not happy with you. 1 Samuel 15, not first. Yeah, 1 Samuel 15. I think it's 15. Oh, I really hope it's 15. I said that so confidently. These dudes offer up, it might be Leviticus 11. It's one of the two. Both are examples of this scenario where they say, God likes this. I'm going to add this or do this a little differently. And God says, bro, not okay. And one of them is fire, and they add color to the fire, and he literally burns them with the fire. He says, dog, this is not what I asked of you.
You know what I think's hilarious?
What?
That this is the thing that has you all fired up. Like, you're about to come across the table at me to beat this point.
Because this is not a single denomination's problem. This is every church has their people that
We've gone as far as we have, like, worship leaders where we have people mic'd up in the crowd so that our singing sounds better.
Yeah, that's a little deep in my opinion. That's a little much.
But at what point is the singing no longer for God? You know?
Yeah, but at the same time, like, if you're yelling with all your might, I don't even like if it's for God. But the point of the service is God wants it to be a good sound. Think about it for the people who are new here that are like, why is there some people belting out here for no reason? Like, they don't understand. They're thinking it's a distraction. And even for me, as I'm trying to match my voice with the crowd to sing properly so it sounds good, and I was like, wow, I really hope the Lord appreciates this effort I'm trying to sing with, even though I don't know how to sing, and I'm giving it to the Lord that way. But if I'm like not paying attention to anyone else around me, not trying to sing with the group and singing out of key and off turn and all this stuff, and it's just like you're being more distracting than you are, I think, serving the Lord. That's my 2 cents. I'm done.
Yeah.
It's a pet peeve, honestly. It's a pet peeve. I think there's disruption no matter if there's instruments or loud singers.
I'm trying to find where it was. I'm pretty sure it's in Ephesians, but maybe I'm crazy because I hadn't find it on Google. But isn't there a verse that says that we're supposed to make harmony to the Lord with our voices?
Yeah.
Like
Harmony?
harmony.
Not yelling.
Just to beat on your point. Well, we got like 6 minutes if we want to try and wrap up 14 through 18.
Okay, I'll run it. Therefore, since the children share in flesh and blood, he himself likewise also partook of the same, that through death he might render powerless him who had the power of death, that is, the devil, and might free those who through fear of death were subject to slavery all their lives. For assuredly he does not give help to angels, but he gives help to the descendant of Abraham. Therefore he had to be made like his brethren in all things, so that he might become a merciful and faithful high priest in things pertaining to God, to make propitiation for the sins of people. For since he himself was tempted in that which he has suffered, he is able to come to the aid of those who are tempted.
That was a mouthful.
I know. I think that was like perfectly summed up everything we've been talking about.
Yeah, he closes the chapter
nailed it
really well. Verse 14 begins with talking about us, the children of God, or the children, are flesh and blood. And it says, he himself, being Jesus, likewise shared in the same. What does that mean? Well, Jesus became flesh and blood. 1 John 1 and verse 14. No, John 1:14. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. This Word that became flesh, this Christ that became flesh, this is Jesus. It doesn't mean that he's like, there's some weird stuff about like what communion is, about partaking of Christ's body, Christ's blood. There's some weird stuff about that. This isn't talking about any of that, and we won't get into that on this study, but we will when we conquer.
We need
like,
a Catholic person with us when we have that.
When we go through like 1 Corinthians.
Do you think that would be acceptable?
I don't know if we could get anybody on.
You don't think if I found a Catholic person that we could have a real discussion?
I think we could. I just don't know if we get anybody to do it. But that's the idea of what it means.
I'll find someone.
That Jesus partook in this flesh and blood with us.
Yeah.
Is that he became a living humanity on earth.
Yeah. I love verse 15. I'm going to break it down for us.
One more thing. This in the beginning of the episode I was talking about, like Christ's birth and all these things, and why he probably became as a man. Like God could have chose however he wanted to do this. Mm-hmm. He sends himself as a man, as a baby. We talked about like these other Greek gods. They're just gods. Like we don't have any backstory on, like, you have some like mythological story of their upbringing, but we don't have anything recorded of like. If it is,
it's like less than 10 manuscripts.
Yeah, there's nothing credible like to who Zeus was. Where was Zeus's beginning? How was his life? Like, how did he become a god? Like, we don't have any of that that's credible. I'm sure there's an explanation for it.
Sure, somebody out there knows.
There's nothing credible.
Yeah.
And I think it was our first episode, right, that we talked about proving Jesus in the Bible.
Yup.
Yeah.
Banger.
Yeah. There's no way to say that Jesus isn't a credible figure at the very least. Mm-hmm. None of these Greek gods you could make a credible figure. And even like Muhammad, he's believed to have spoke legible words at birth. Mm-hmm. Jesus didn't do that. Jesus was a full human. Like, we see his whole life, which I think is really unique.
He was also born without a dad, or without a biological dad. So I mean, that's pretty crazy too.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think,
but that's prophesied. There's manuscripts for that, you know,
and it comes true. Yeah. No, I just think that's worth pointing out. Like, God could have done this however he wanted, but he did it as different from any other religion that he possibly could have.
And even ones to come later, you know. Verse 15, I want to break it down before my iPad died. It's got 1%. I'll read it. And might free those who through fear of death were subject to slavery all their lives. Break it down. The term might free those, showing us that Jesus did the work, but it is still up to us to accept that and follow him. Shows us that, like you said earlier, baptism is not the end goal. He did this, so we have this opportunity, and it might free those. It didn't say it will, 100%. Yeah. It's just you still have to do the work. Secondly, we are fearful of death, fearing the potential outcome of hell, and Christ has freed us from that fear through what he has done. And the idea that, you know, life doesn't just end at death is one that people fear for. Some people fear that you might return as however you lived your past life. There's no fear in that. Some people fear that I'm going to burn because I'm trash. And
hell is real and hell is hot.
that's what the Jews were thinking. Is like, dude, I'm literally going to hell. Like this sucks. And Jesus says, you're free from that. And then it's dead. What does the rest of the verse say?
You're looking for 15.
Yeah. What does the last part say?
Through fear had the power of death. That is the devil. Oh, no, wrong verse. Who through fear or death were all their lifetime subject to bondage.
Subject to bondage, slavery. Christ has freed us of the slavery of that fear. Meaning that not only has he freed us from the afterlife, of the fear of the afterlife, but he also has freed us while we are currently walking. So I don't have to fear what is to come because I know it's good. So my life on earth can also be free, which I thought was just a wonderful, wonderful verse.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to bring up earlier with Christ's resurrection being the important part. Like, yes, it had to happen this way to fulfill prophecies, but God could have created these prophecies however he wanted.
Yeah.
It wasn't the cross. Like, I have nothing against like getting a cross tattoo or wearing a cross, but it's not the cross, right, that makes this happen. He could have been flogged to death, right?
I used to have the verse memorized of why I wear my cross. There's a verse that says, like, bear that
I'm not
image
like
kind of thing.
trying to tell you that you can't wear a cross,
Yeah,
but I'm just trying to point out, like, Christ's death wasn't the amazing part. If we believe he was human, he's going to die. Yeah. The amazing part is that he conquered death. 1 Corinthians 15:55, O death, where is your sting? O Hades, where is your victory? The sting of death is sin, and the strength of the sin is the law. But thanks be to God who gives us a victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. Because Christ rose, he conquered death. He regained that control over death that we lost. Verse 16, I wanted to bring up that he did not take the form of an angel to save angels, but as a man to save a man. We already know that the angels are under God. However, that realm works. Christ didn't come for them. God had a very specific task in mind to come and save us.
Can I read the verse?
Yeah.
2 Corinthians 4:10. We always carry around in our body the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may be also revealed in our body. I take this and I go, well, yeah, it's in me, but I'm going to put it on me too. So that's where I get it from, is that I'm going to carry this cross as of the death of the body in our body, the death of Jesus. So on my body, the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may also be revealed on my body. So I just changed the hour to on. And then I'm like, that's my way.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of unique reasons people like get cross tattoos or wear a cross, like or it's basically a reminder for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but yeah. So I wasn't trying to put like that part of it down. Like you can wear your cross. It's fine. I just, we
disapproves of all you.
We really focus, like, especially
cross earrings.
That's where I draw the line. That's where like we really focus like communion towards Christ's death. Well, yeah, his death was miraculous in a way. Like he wasn't broken. Not a bone in his body was broken. Like all these things. Like if you look at the science of how they were crucified, like almost impossible. Like it is impossible for them to not break his bones, driving the nails through his hands and feet. Yeah. Not a bone was broken to fulfill prophecy. Yeah. All these things. So there was some miraculous stuff to the cross, but that's not what makes death no longer a fear for us. It's that he rose and showed Satan that death can't hold us. You know? I think we can close that.
Can't handle the truth.
Beat that, Satan.
Well, that's a wrap, bro.
Yeah. So just a reminder.
A little bit of a longer one for you guys.
I think we still are like
an hour and 5 minutes. Do this an hour and 39 minutes. There's no way.
We yapped for a long time for this.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
Dang, well, y'all got some good episodes. Now we can make a full blooper episode.
Off of one episode. Yeah, but just a reminder that we will be skipping an episode on purpose this time.
It'll be a week late, most likely, if I do one with a guest.
But we'll be back.
And then we'll be back on time.
Ish.
Maybe.
We'll just post. When we post, you watch. That's your job.
Yeah.
Later.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. If you have a topic you would like us to cover, email us at armoredpod@gmail.com. And please be sure to like, follow, and subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.